All right, guys, back with another video. We're actually going to do some poll breakdown, and we're going to read an article about uh, where the current polling sits with the midterm elections and how this is going to affect 2022 and how I think it's going to affect 2024. But let's start here with civics.com. The reason I like to use civics is because they get a massive amount of responses. This current poll here has 134,000 responses. So let's go ahead and start back in February. We had Joe Biden at a 44% disapproval. Now we're up to a 53% disapproval with a 38% approve. Now, it's not necessarily that the exact numbers are what's important. It's the trend line. The trend line, we've dropped 10 points in approval over less than a year. That's crazy considering the fact that presidents usually get a honeymoon period for the first 6 months to a year of their presidency where things don't affect them the same way that it would in years 2, 3, or 4. You see this with almost everyone. You didn't have a honeymoon period with Donald Trump. You're not seeing one with Joe Biden either. Now, the difference is that the media came out and attacked Trump immediately. So, I mean, you can go back and look. His press coverage was like 90 to 95% negative. So you just had the voter getting absolutely pummeled with negative news about Trump from the very beginning. He never saw that honeymoon period. Now, Joe Biden, on the other hand, who has been treated with kid gloves by the media up until very recently, and some of the Afghanistan withdrawal, which don't forget about that, by the way. He has not been able to maintain any form of support. The other thing that we need to point out is that Trump's floor in his polling was higher than what we're seeing from Joe Biden. I don't believe Joe Biden's done dropping yet. Every day that goes on is some other unconstitutional thing that this administration decides to do. The economy gets worse. Idiot Fauci comes out and talks about how he is the science. All of these things resonate really negatively with independents. But what the funniest part is also with Democrats. So back in February, once again, we had a 91% approval. Currently, he's sitting at 77 with Democrats. Now, again, it's the trend that we want to pay attention to. Amongst his own party in these hyper-partisan times, he's 14% drop. But now we go over to the section that determines elections with independent voters. Back in February, we were at 41% approval. We're currently sitting at 28. Again, this is a 13% shift. Yeah, that's trouble for Democrats. They don't have anything that they can run on right now. Once Trump was removed from office, they lost their only talking point, which was Orange Man bad. They can't run on that anymore. COVID hasn't gotten any better. The economy's terrible. We have ports clogged. Gas prices are through the roof. They don't have any message that they can send to the voter, and it's showing. So we're going to take this and we're going to move on to The Hill. And what The Hill reports, Republicans hold largest edge in early midterm vote preferences in 40 years. An ABC News Washington Post poll published Sunday found if midterm elections were held now, 51% of all registered voters say they would vote for a Republican in their congressional district, as opposed to 41% said they would vote Democrat. That figure represents the largest lead for a GOP in 110 polls conducted by the two news organizations since 1981, ABC noted. It also represents only the second time since 1981 Republicans have held a statistical advantage in this category. And Republicans have obviously won Congress more than twice. Republicans, especially as of recently, generally seem to overperform the polls. If that is the case, and we're going to get into a situation where Republicans are going to overperform this too, which again has happened in the past 3 major elections, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. You're not going to see a red wave. You're not going to see a red tsunami. You're going to see an absolute bloodbath. Democrats are running around with their hair on fire, retiring left and right. They can't do anything to stop the bleeding. They just lost in Virginia, horribly, by the way. They just lost a squeaker in New Jersey. This is absolutely fantastic for the GOP. Hopefully in 2022 we get some populist candidates in there, get them voted in, get rid of some of these rhinos, and then maybe we can actually make the GOP worth voting for again. But now where this brings us into 2024 is you're going to end up with one of 2 candidates, and you can quote me on this. This is how I really believe that this is going to turn out. If Donald Trump decides to run again in 2024, the nomination is his. I don't believe that anyone will challenge him for that. If Donald Trump doesn't run, I think you're going to get Ron DeSantis. Now, let's contrast both of Trump and DeSantis against what's going on currently. You have the 2 people in the Republican Party that have been right on the most pitted up against the current Democrat Party. Trump was the greatest economic president potentially of all time. And that's for every demographic of people. He's been largely right on a lot of what's gone on with COVID. And then you have Ron DeSantis over in Florida, whose economy is doing fantastic. They're open. People down there are really thrilled with what he's doing. But either one of these 2 people that run are going to have history on their side. Statistics, history, the economy. The numbers are with them. It's going to be really interesting to see, because you could very easily run into a situation where people voted Donald Trump out in 2020 because of the lesser of 2 evils argument. And you could potentially have these same voters in 2024 going, oh, well, maybe things under the orange man weren't so bad. I think if the election were held today, Republicans take the House, they take the Senate, and I think Donald Trump takes back the presidency. Now, again, a lot can change over 2 or 3 years when it comes to politics, but Democrats are left with their pants down, with no message, with incompetent leadership, to the point to where they're talking about running Pete Buttigieg. He's their best hope right now, which, given the fact that he's still part of the current administration, I think Trump and DeSantis both still have an advantage over. So, biggest thing right now, guys, is don't let up. Be ready to vote in 2022. It's bigger than just your national elections too. You know, get active in your local elections. Be ready. You know that the Democrats are going to come out with the media, or they're going to try to do something to try to boost their numbers, since they just don't have the policy to do it. And to prove that is even this infrastructure bill that Joe Biden's pushing through, which all the media is claiming is a really, really popular issue. You're not seeing the polling boost from any of it. So be active, guys. Democrats are on the ropes, and it looks ugly. Be ready for 22. Be ready for 24. Be ready for the bloodbath that's going to follow. Thanks, guys.